guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I'm here with something I am very excited to get to the table. I was afraid it was going to be a little while, but I said, screw it. I don't care. I've got to figure out a way to do this because it doesn't look like I'm going to be healing up anytime soon. So I've got some benches arranged around the table so I can just sit down and slide my way around the table as we go along here. But we're going to jump in to a little bit of Bolt Action by Warlord and Osprey Games. I have very much been looking forward to this. This is obviously a miniatures-based tactical skirmish game set in World War II. Now, the easiest way I can describe this is a game that's similar to Warhammer 40,000 in the way that it's played, but I think a little more streamlined. Warhammer's definitely gotten very heavy with the rules, so much stuff going on all at the same times, and then you've got so many factions and all their special rules. Now, there are factions, obviously, in this game. You've got the U.S. forces, the Germans, the Japanese, the British, the Italians. I mean, everyone's in it, but it doesn't seem as weighty. It really does feel like a game, even though the rulebook is fairly big. I got to give it that. There's a lot in this rulebook. You don't really need to read the whole thing to understand the rules. Let's see, most of it, yeah. The first few pages aren't much. So once you get the first 100 or so pages done and they read relatively quickly, a lot of this is talking about like basic supplies, just talking about dice and measuring rulers and things like that that you need. When it comes to the basics of the game, most of it can be boiled down to a single little player aid. Now, this is all part of a starter box that I got. Now, this is part of the Island Assault, I think is the name. Let me look at the box real quick. Yeah, Island Assault. And it came with a bunch of different Marines, which is part of the reason I wanted it. Japanese. It had a couple of vehicles, one for each side. So really what you just need just to get into the game. Obviously, it included things like dice. Now, when it comes to dice, these are the key ones that you need. It had some little baby D6s that I replaced with better dice. I'm actually going to be using my Marine dice that my wife was nice enough to get me a couple of Christmases ago. So I'm going to use those D6s instead for this game because it feels appropriate. But these dice are the order dice, and we're going to show you that as we get into the game playing it. The rules aren't difficult, but it would take me too long to pretty much just go over the rules. So I think we're going to kind of learn them as we go instead because they're not overly complex. Some guys from Warlord Games actually did a video with mini wargamers, and they were like, hey, can you teach us bolt action in 10 minutes or less? And they do. The rules are not hard. They are really simple to pick up. A lot of it is open to interpretation, as long as you're deciding between you and your buddy, you're good to go. So things like what's heavy cover, light cover, stuff like that, make sure you decide upon that before you begin your game. Now, if you watched my Fantasy Village building video, this is all of that Fantasy Village terrain pack stuff that I have now got put together here in the background, so you guys get to see all this nice and put together. Yes, the terrain itself, the color is a little off because it's two types of mats. This is a neoprene mat and this is a vinyl one. I had gotten a big vinyl one a while back and I thought it was a greenish color. Evidently, it's more of a road color, and it's definitely too late for me to return that and change it out. So when I laid it down, I was like, oh, this isn't going to work for like an island village. So I just laid down my 3x3, put my village on that, and then the vinyl mat underneath that to give myself just a little extra playing space. But the majority of our battle is going to be taking place in this village. So the scenario that I came up with is that there's this little island. The Marines are assaulting into it, trying to take out little Japanese strongholds, and they find this little village here. It's got some little houses, little barn, a little tavern back over there, a lake house. I decided to leave the lake out. Even a little blacksmith hut right over here, and the cutest little wagon over there. Just cool little stuff, man. I love this terrain. It's so cool. But they see just a squad of Japanese soldiers standing around in the center, and they figure, okay, not too bad. We can take this out because we outnumber these guys about 2-1. So we've got Alpha and Bravo squads over here. We've got a bazooka unit, which is its own set of guys, a loader and a shooter for them. So each of our Marine squads are going to have 2 BARs. The rest are rifles, with the exception of one leader who's going to have an SMG. So both squads are the same. 2 bars, 1 SMG for the leader, rest rifles, so think M1 Garands. So Alpha and Bravo. And then we have a leader element where our first lieutenant is leading his little Marine squad here, attacking all the villages. He has a soldier with him, or not soldier. Damn, I can't believe I said that. Oh, I'll leave it in just to show that I make that mistake too. But he has a Marine with him, just like a little bodyguard guy. Good to go. So this is a unit. This is a unit. The bazooka's a unit. And this squad's a unit, plus our armored car. The starter pack came with a half-track, but I didn't really like the half-track that much. I wanted something with better armor, so I got them an armored car. Instead, they're going to use that. It has roughly the same stats. It has less machine guns, but it does have an anti-tank weapon. And I didn't want their only anti-tank weapon to be pretty much the bazooka, because the Japanese have more forces than the Marines know about. What they know, starting off, is this one squad behind a couple of sandbag entrenchments up here at the front, but tucked back into the barn, if we take this roof off, is our sniper and his A-gunner tucked in there. And if you look, the door's open, which gives him basically a sight line all the way through the village. He can take and pick off anyone that is coming in, and I just freaking love that. Plus, because they're catching them in a downtime, that's why the Japanese look like they have less forces than they do. They've got a light tank hidden behind the building over here, and inside, well, outside, we have the Japanese second lieutenant and his little bodyguard A-gunner type guy, and inside is another squad of Japanese soldiers, and they have, I believe it's a medium machine gun. It might be a light machine gun. I'll have to look it up to see which one of those that they have. Basically, I went with the force organization that was listed down in the example of play for the different forces to make sure I got it roughly on point. Like I said, the only change that I made is the Marines got an armored car instead of the half-track, but they're almost the exact same points. So I'm not worried about that. That's really the same. The Marines count as veteran troops because they're veteran. Because they're Marines, they kick ass. They're always really good. They have high morale because we're awesome. The Japanese troops are going to be regular, and that does come into play during the game when it comes to making certain morale checks, fire checks, all the other good stuff. All right, so as we play this, the Marines' objective is going to be come in here and take the village. Their plan, if we pan over, is to have Alpha squad over there with the lieutenant cut around. The armored car is kind of hanging in the back to see where it's needed. It's going to push up and either join Alpha or Bravo, just depending on which one ends up needing the support. So Alpha is going to push in while Bravo down over here does kind of an end run around the town, the lower part of it, and kind of cuts in because they're thinking that all they have to do is take out these guys right there. That's it. They get them. They've got control of the village. They're not expecting more Japanese to start pouring out of that building or a tank to come around the edge or to start taking sniper fire as they cross this danger zone right around here. So that's going to throw their plans all out of whack. Okay, so what do? To start, we are going to get our little baggie here. And this is just a random felt bag that I had. And we're going to take all of our order dice, and you have one order dice for each thing. And that's the thing. God, I wish they just wouldn't have included D6s and just included extra order dice, because I'm going to have to like print off some of these or buy some more or do something, because you need more order dice, because you need one for each unit. So each side has 5 order dice for each one of their units. The Japanese have 2 squads. They have a leader, they have a sniper unit, and they have a tank. The Marines have 2 squads. They have a leader, they have a bazooka, and they have an armored car. So for everything, every grouping, whatever it is that you have an order dice for it. You're going to take all of the order dice. So the Japanese and the Marines, and you're going to dump them in the bag. And then you're going to shake that bag up, and you're going to draw from this bag randomly, and whatever you draw is how the order, the turn order, the initiative is going to be determined. I love that. I think that's going to be great for solitaire play, because there's no way you can guarantee I've got first move or anything, unless I messed a rule somewhere. Your commanders, however, do have a little bonus that they can do depending on their rank and their range. So like first and second lieutenants, they only have a 6-inch range. Captains and majors have a 12-inch range. But a first lieutenant gets 2 orders. So if they have units near them within 6 inches, and you draw an order dice and apply it to that leader, they can give orders to others. So they can basically draw extra order dice out of the bag to make their units activate quicker. Maybe you want to let the enemy go first so you don't give the orders. Or maybe you want to try to get some shots off. Generally, you want to go first. You want to get those rounds down range, get the enemy pinned, which is where these markers come in, because every time an enemy is shot at and you get at least a hit, you don't have to damage, but at least hit them, they start taking these pin markers, and that makes it harder for them to shoot, to activate, to do everything. So you want to take and get those guys moving down range, putting some rounds across, and getting the enemy to put their head down. I like our little player aid here. It does list it down all nice and neat. And just to go over it real quick, the turn sequence basically says draw the die and do whatever you want with your guys. And then once you've done that, you keep drawing dice. And when you're out of dice, it's the end of the turn. So let's just jump in, start playing. I might cut out some of this talking that I did here at the beginning. We'll just have to see. Let me grab my little dice bag here, and we will shuffle this up. All right. And I will pull out a die, and we are going to start with the Marines. We got the green to start off with. All right, so this means that I get to pick one of my guys and apply this die to it. Like I said, it's got all the orders listed down, advance, run, all that good stuff. Well, I want to get some stuff going on over here. So we're going to give this to our leader here, our first lieutenant, but he's going to give his extra order. He's only within 6 inches of this unit. I actually should have moved that armored car up farther, but I'll bring him up later, I guess. So they're both probably going to do an advance. Move up, try to put some rounds down range. Okay, so I grabbed another die out. We're going to apply it to these guys. And I got myself a tape measure and my little measuring stick here, so I can use both when I need them. And essentially what I'm wanting to do here is move these guys up against the fence and try to keep them to where they're in cover from about half of that squad over there. See if I can keep them to where this is blocking off about half the squad, so they can only shoot there, maybe pin them down a little bit. And this, yeah, will put us right up against that. So we'll just start moving them up here against the fence and put these guys right about there, and then just move them all behind there. And when it comes to shooting through your own guys, which I'm going to be doing here in just a second, you can do that. You just need to take, when it comes to shooting through your own guys, it's not a big deal. Essentially, it's considered that they move like out of the way, so you can shoot through your own guys. But funny enough, if you try to shoot through an enemy, they actually get a cover save because it's considered like cover for them. You're shooting through a target. All right, so we're going to get a little bird's eye view, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're getting into this game. You want to kind of get down and look at your target and see what you're firing at. And whatever you can see, you can shoot. If at least 50% of it or more is covered, it's considered to be either blocking line of sight or to have cover. All right, so since we're shooting with both of these guys, and you have to declare it first and then measure. They have carbines, which are considered rifles. So again, 24 inches of range. I have one SMG, 2 bars, and then what does that leave? 7 rifles firing. And looking at it, I don't think I was able to block out as many of the Japanese as I would have liked, but I do have nice line of sight onto them. But they're going to get a good amount of cover because of this. So they've all got cover saves, and I have the penalty for moving. Problem is that I do believe American units don't get penalized when it comes to moving and firing, but I'm not sure if that's just airborne, like a special rule for the airborne, or an American rule specifically. And since I couldn't find anything that said that it was an American rule, I'm going to ignore that. So I am going to give them the -1 penalty, okay, for firing. And they're going to be firing at long range, I believe, because let's pull this out to 24 inches. Yeah, they're easily within range. Actually, let's pull it into 12. I might actually have some that are within. Nope. Yeah, they're all within 24 inches of it. But my SMG over here is actually not going to get to fire because he's only got a range of 12 inches. So I don't get to roll for him, but I do get to roll for everyone else. And we'll just do this as one big roll. But I'm getting a -1 for the moving, and I'm getting a -1 for them being in cover. So I do believe that's going to be a 5-up to hit. All right, now, at this point, since I've declared my target and I figured out who's firing and all that good stuff, the Japanese do have the option to go down, which would make it harder to be hit. But I don't have a great chance since I've got a couple of penalties already against me. So they're going to stay put in hopes that they're able to fire back at these Marines here and get some wounds going on them. So in total, I've got, 9 plus another 4, so 13 dice that I'm getting to roll. On the attack, I'm looking for 5-ups, and I'm getting, remember, bonus 2 dice because of the bars. They each fire 2. So let's roll on it. Oh, that is horrible. That is so bad. Oh my God, what a roll, dude. What a roll. 1 hit. Oh, they were so right to keep their heads up. What is this? Marines do not shoot like this. We train better than this. Most of it was 4s, 3s, 2s, and a 1. God, that was horrible. At least I got 1 hit, because if I had missed with every die, they would not have got a pin marker. Now, since they are regular, they do get a 4-up. We'll kill them. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Nope, I don't believe there's any other modifiers that's going to affect them. Yep, because nothing I have has anything with penetration values. So basically, I'm looking for a single 4-up right now. Of course not. Good grief. The Marines started off real bad on this one. Oh, and something cool I wanted to show you guys on this, if I stop bumping my camera. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look, there's numbers on the bottom of that. See that 1 right there? So you can use that or just place extra markers or use your own if you want to. Wow, what a pathetic start. What a pathetic start. I can't believe it. 13 shots, 1 hit, no wounds. Oh, that's bad. That is so bad. Well, at least they are definitely into their cover, and hopefully they'll do better on the next one. So let's draw a die out, and we got another Marine die. We're just going to use this one to actually perform a run action, because I'm going to get these guys out of the way down over here. All right, what I'm essentially wanting to do is bring this squad around over here. Let me move that fence back where I bumped it. Over here towards behind the building in hopes that they can skirt. And remember, they still don't know there's extra squads over there. So we're just gonna lay this down and then roll it over and get them to right there. And we'll just tuck this squad behind the building to keep them out of sight. So we'll put this die onto the run to mark them that they're complete. This is kind of bad. All my guys are moving up, which means all the last dies are going to be the Japanese, and the Japanese definitely know they are under fire at this point. So that takes care of that. And let's keep drawing out our die. See what we're going to get here. Should be a Japanese one. Yep, here we go, Japanese. And we'll start with something easy. We'll have them fire back onto the Marine squad right there at the front that just attacked them. All right, we know they're going to have to roll 9 dice because they have 1 submachine gun and 9 rifles. So they're going to be firing back, and they're not going to have the penalties that the Marines had. And I just realized I missed 1 penalty when they were shooting, the long range penalty, which would have made it hitting on 6s, not 5s. Didn't matter. All ended up working out the same anyway. So they're actually going to be hitting on 5s. Because the Marines have cover, light cover from the fencing, and I think that's it. Oh, and it's long range. So they're getting -2 because it's normally 3 up to hit. All right. Base number is 3. It's always going to be 3. And then whatever modifiers apply. So they're going to have just 9 shots coming, another 3 dice, and they're looking for 5s. Watch this be like all 5s and 6s. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. The Japanese rolling hot. Hot, man. Oh, it's so crap. That is so crap. So the Marines take a pen marker, and it's 1 pin, period. That's it. So no matter how many hits they get, it's just a single pin. Now, since they are veteran troops, though, they don't wound as easy as the Japanese are going to wound. They are only going to wound again on a 5+. So hopefully these dice will all come up 1, 2, 3, and 4 because I don't want to lose anyone. Oh, 1 guy down. All right, now this is something I'm ignoring just because it's my first game of bolt action and I want to try to keep it easy on myself. Normally when you roll 6s, it's like catastrophic thing, and it's basically you can roll it again and hopefully you get another 6 and then you get to pick what your target is. I'm not going to worry about that for this game since it's my first game. There's a few rules that I'm kind of dumbing down just a little bit. Just understand that if you do roll 6s on wounds, there is a special rule for that. But since they rolled the 6, they did get 1 wound, which means I have to remove 1 guy. Normally, again, there would be a chance they could pick. They would try to pick one of my BAR guys. But we'll pick someone, and obviously I'm not going to pick my squad leader or my BAR, so I'll just take one of the rifles here from the back and pop him out. Damn, first casualty is a Marine. That is not bueno. That is not bueno in the least. All right, let's draw another die and see what we got going on here. We've got another Japanese. Now, all right, to start things going, I'm actually going to move this tank up first. And it's just going to be a move, just a basic like run move for them. They can move a fair amount. The problem with tracked vehicles is they don't have a whole lot of turning radius. So wheeled vehicles can make more turns than tanks can, tracked vehicles. And then things like half tracks are in the middle. We're just basically going to have him move up over here and turn a little bit so we can start bringing him into the fight on the next turn. If I can stop bumping my buildings here. So we'll bring him up over here, and do believe it's 190, or not 190, but a single 90 that he gets to have, but we'll pull him around over here. Put him about there because he's got more than enough movement to get to there, and we'll mark him. Don't forget, we still got a Japanese leader here and a Japanese squad in the building. They're going to be pulling out and getting involved here soon. Now, something I was actually thinking about doing was setting up an ambush with my guys in there, because there's an open door and a couple of windows. So I was thinking I could have the light machine gun in there, fire out onto them, but I'm probably going to move that Japanese squad out onto that balcony and then put them onto an overwatch if I can. And by overwatch, I mean on like the following turn, not like this turn. That way they can hold the main building and put lots of fire down on the Marines. All right, we got a few dice left. Let's draw another one, see what we're going to get. And we got another Japanese. So what we're going to do is go ahead and pull out another Japanese die from the bag. And we're going to take care of their second lieutenant because they're within range. And we'll get their guys positioned. All right, so remember, we've got a lieutenant here and their guys there. We're just going to move them and not worry about moving them too much, because I don't think they're going to be able to get lines of sight. That walkway over there is going to be blocking them off from the Marines, but they'll have good lines of sight all down through the village if I get them moved up. So we'll put some dice here for them and have the lieutenant order these guys out. And I think the lieutenant's really cool with his little saber. He's also carrying a pistol, so he can put a little rounds down range if he wants to. We'll set him there, and you guys see we can just pop the top and pull these guys out. And there's their light machine gun. If I can get that focused in, so they can put a little bit of hurt down range. And while I'm moving these guys out, one of the things that threw me off about this game, again, and I talked about this in a different video, was the fact that it didn't have the bases for most of the guys. Like, there were some bases, but not enough bases. And that threw me off. I was like, why wouldn't they include bases for all of them? And the big thing was the bases for the guys that are laying down, because it was showed on the back of the box, but they weren't included. Now, I guess that's just something that's generic for some different types of war games. The only one that I was really used to like this before Bolt Action was 40K, and there was always a base for whatever miniature you had in there. So that threw me off just a little bit. All right, so we got the lieutenant, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Perfect. Got them out on the walkway. So now they've got a nice field of fire all throughout the village. They can pick out any of the Marines that try to come into the center, put a word of hurt on. And you guys y'all can't tell me this does not look just good as hell with all those soldiers lined up, shooting over the walls. I think this terrain just works so well for the game. There's so many options for it. All right, we got just a few dice left. I've got 2 units on the Marines, and I think 1 unit left for the Japanese. And it's the Japanese, so we know what's going to happen here. Sniper's going to fire, and this is going to catch the Marines by surprise. We'll put our little fire die, and he is in that building. Remember, pop the roof off. So easy. You guys can see there's the door right there that he is firing out of. So he's got a line of sight going down through there. For ease of remembrance, I'm just going to put his die right there in the front, so I don't forget that it's there or forget that he's there. And he has plenty of range. His range is, I think, 36 inches. Yeah, which is that. So he can effectively shoot way far. Now, the key thing is he in half range, which I don't believe he's going to be in half range. That's going to be his half range. And yeah, he's not even close. Not even close to half range. Now, he's going to take a shot over here at the Marines. And technically, the well is blocking his line of sight from a couple of them. But he's got a good line of fire. He can hit them. That's not going to be a problem. Now, snipers have a different little bit of rules associated with them. Both of them have weapons, so both of them technically can fire, the sniper and the A gunner. But if you're doing a sniper shot, the A gunner doesn't fire. The sniper's considered in looking through a scope. The A gunner's helping him, so you're just doing that shot. Plus, the sniper actually gets to pick his target. Okay, so I was checking it again, and it turned out at the back of the rule book there was the listing for the special rules for the different nations, which does say that American units get the advance without having the penalty. I'll check it before the next video since not too much has happened just yet, just to make sure there's no other special rules I'm missing for the Japanese, because I'm sure they have some type of assault bonus and all that good stuff. Anyway, we're going to get our sniper shot going. Now, the sniper's got a bonus in the fact that when he's taking this scope shot, he gets to pick who he's going after, and he doesn't have the negative modifiers apply basically for like cover and all this other good stuff. It's only like negative modifiers apply to him, stuff like if his A gunner is missing, stuff like that. So he's got long range, and I believe that's the only thing that's going to apply to him because he's still got his A gunner. So basically, he's looking for a 4 or higher here, and he gets to pick off. I think we're going to have him target one of my BAR gunners and see if he can take one of those guys out because they're a more significant threat. Oh, and he got the hit. And now we see if he takes the damage. So we're looking for a 5 or higher here to kill the BAR gunner. And no, he did not. But he did inflict another pin, which is not good for them right now. They need to avoid taking any more pin markers. But for our Marines, we do have a couple of units left. We've got our bazooka guys here, and we're just going to have them run up right along. If I can find run. There it is. Right along with these guys for cover, so they can try to do some damage along with them. So that takes care of them. And then we've got our armored car left. All right, so since I started my armored car way too far in the back, I'm going to have him doing an advance because I'm hoping that he can put an anti-tank shell up into that barn door and take out that sniper and his A gunner. So we're going to have him do an advanced maneuver. It might end up putting him in the line of fire for that enemy tank, but we're going to have to take our chances, which means he can move 12 inches and do up to 2 90-degree turns. So we're going to move him there and move him to here, and we'll basically turn him so his front is pointing that way. So he's got his gun, and he's going to fire it all the way up into that building, but the sniper is going to get a lot of cover. All right, so we're going to do our AT gun up at the building, and I've got a medium machine gun that I'm going to fire at that squad that's up front. So he's doing his advance, and we'll do our AT gun first. HE is one that I might be a little iffy on. I'm hoping I can get this right because HE gets a little different. They can potentially put out more pin markers. They basically D2 and hits versus targets in building. They can do extra hits against them, but it's considered to have an HE of 1 inch. So just a single inch diameter. Basically, he can fire up there and take out the A gunner at the same time, which is what I'm hoping to do. But we moved, so that's a -1, and the range is 48 inches, so it's going to be 24 for half, which he is definitely under 24, so he's getting long range too. Long range and on the move, so he's looking for a 5 or up to try to hit the... Oh, wait, he's in a building. He's got hard cover, so that's -2. Shit. The only way I'm going to hit this is if I roll a 6 twice. All right, let's do it. Basically, it's an impossible shot. So anything that needs more than a 6 to hit you roll, and on the off chance you get a 6, if you roll again and get another 6, it means you were lucky and you got the hit. So we'll take a chance and see if we can and get him. 1. That's no, that's a no. We will take and fire our medium machine gun though, and the medium machine gun can go at a different target. It's going to go at these guys. They're in cover, so cover medium machine gun range is 36, so they need to be within 18 to not have half, and they are not within 18. So he's moved, he's at long range, and they're in cover, so I'm looking for 6s to hit. Damn. The Marines are just having a hard time getting in good shots. The Japanese didn't have to move too far. All right. 1. I'll take 1 hit. I'm good with that. That gets them another pin marker. And we're looking for a 4 up to hopefully kill one of these guys. Come on. God, there's been 1s out my butt. Oh, well, mainly pin markers. This first round went weak for both sides. Mainly pin markers, but they're at such far ranges right now. The sniper was the only one that I was anticipating actually getting some real kills going on. But I think next turn we're going to see some real hurt start coming in, because the Japanese now, they have come out and they're all lined up along this building. They've got their tank pushed in. So on the next turn, he can advance forward next to this well and put a lot of fire. He can put a heavy tank shell towards my armored car and then his own machine gun fire towards my guys. So I've got my squad, Bravo squad down over here that's trying to loop around, but it's going to be a couple turns before they can even get stuck in. These guys are kind of stuck out in the open right now, and they're taking pinning markers out the butt. I might have them just get down to hopefully keep them covered to absorb fire while the armored car puts some hurt out and tries to slow down some of this incoming fire. But with both sides in cover and at farther ranges, firing at long range, it's making it to where it's hard to get the hits in. Now, I'm sure that I probably played this first turn not perfect, not exactly accurate. I'm sure I missed something. But like I said, I'm ignoring a couple of the specialized rules just to try to make it easier on myself in this first game. Things like exceptional damage or FUBAR, I'm not worrying about in this first game. Mainly just maneuver warfare, fighting, shooting, getting into the assault. That's really what I'm worried about, the basic rules of the game. All right, but that'll cover this first turn. We'll keep playing this out. We'll see which side comes out on top. Hopefully the Marines can get stuck in there and do something. Unfortunately, they did take the first casualty. Private Smuckatelli popped his head up and got it popped off by a Japanese sniper, or not sniper, just Japanese gunner. That was a bad move on Schmuckatelli's part, but there's more Marines out there that can hopefully make up for it and make the Japanese pay for what they've done. All right, you guys take care. I will see you in the next one.